right, so please stand. We'll have word of prayer and the pledge of allegiance. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful day. I know we had rain and thunderstorms today, but every day is a beautiful day. And we're just thankful for all the opportunities that you give us. Thank you for the opportunity to make a difference in our community. And just pray, Lord, that you'll bless this meeting tonight. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Roll call. Andrew Henry, present. William Ellis, present. Kevin Ferris, present. Jerry Sanders,
present.
Scott Reynolds, present. Dawn Gurnall,
Present.
and Mike Conlon. All present.
All right. I know everybody's had a chance to look at the minutes, so do we have any corrections? If not, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All right, got that taken care of.
Moved by William, seconded by Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes. Any discussion? All right, I'll call the roll to approve the minutes from our March 4th meeting. I vote yes. William, yes. Kevin,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Mike.
Abstain.
Okay.
All
Motion
right.
passes.
Go ahead. So public comment. Does anybody have any public comment?
I do.
If you could come up here, please. And we want to hear what you had to say, but we need everybody to kind of keep their comments to 3 minutes
Okay.
tonight because we have a hard stop.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Lisa McCarchuk. I live in Kelly Heights, and I was here a few weeks ago, and one of the things that was talked about was trying to notify the community regarding the reorganization and so forth. And I don't know what, if anything, has been done since then, but my neighbors and so forth that I know them from Bloomington. I find out, oh, I live in Ellettsville too. And those acquaintances either have not heard anything about it, or anything they found out in the local papers, didn't understand, and particularly said, I need that in layman's terms. And so there's that. I would just say that's still out there. I apologize, I get really nervous talking like
You're
this.
fine.
But what I have continued to try to educate myself about all this, and I'm learning that, running a town is very complicated. I congratulate you on the good work you've done. So whatever I say here, I'm going to preface by saying, based on my understanding. So, sorry. When I find the Baker Tilly graphics and charts and numbers, they don't tell me what I think most taxpayers would want to know, which is, how is this going to affect my tax bill? And I would hope that we could come up with a specific formula. Everybody knows what their tax bill looks like. They know what their house is assessed at. They know how much they're paying. There's a lot of information on the bill itself. And then we have Beacon, where we can look at our property data. Can we come up with a formula that any taxpayer could look at that and figure out how much more, if anything, they're going to pay for this reorganization? I don't think the things I've seen are accurate. I think there's plenty of people that have houses valued at $250,000, $300,000, that are not currently paying a full 1% in property tax. So is it the case that their taxes are going to go up because they're not at 1%? Is everybody's tax in Ellettsville going to go up to that maximum of 1%? If that's the case, then for me, living in Kelly Heights, I'm going to be paying probably a couple $100 more in taxes. And
What is your home assessed for, about, you know?
that's not important. I'm basing it on the Baker-Tilly
Right. Are you
information.
looking at the most recent
I
ones?
don't need to know for myself. I would
No, I'm
like to
asking, Are
see.
you looking at the most recent subcommittee reports? Because they have a theoretical $200,000 home, or anybody above $228,000 in Ellettsville would not see a tax increase,
Why would that be, though?
because they're at the caps.
Not all of them. If you go poking around on Beacon, you will see properties assessed at $250,000 or even more that are not paying a 1% tax bill. So anyway, but to move along, it would be nice to have a formula so people don't have to see where does my property fit in these big ranges, like 200 to 300 or whatever. And they might have a false sense that they're not going to pay anymore. And on top of that, with the vehicle surtax, I think the people in Ellettsville who can least afford it, it looks like they're going to be paying the most for this. So my overall thought is, I think if we're going to join Richland and Ellettsville, everybody has to have a stake in it. And again, based on my understanding, that stake is not equitable based on what I can gather from the documents that are here and there around the internet pertaining to the reorganization. I think, for one thing, the debt that Ellettsville has incurred for our infrastructure, if we're going to extend services that we currently have because we've incurred debt, then people in Richland need to buy into that debt, in my opinion. Those services wouldn't exist if the town hadn't borrowed money to provide them. And I think we have homeowners now that are not within the town limits that are receiving Ellettsville water. And I think we have some debt associated with our water. I don't know if that's true, that's what I gathered. Those properties, in my mind, ought to be annexed so that everybody already in Ellettsville isn't paying for the basis by which we can provide that water.
Well, thank you. We need to move on.
All right, well, why don't I submit, I had a few more things. Why don't I submit them in writing to the emails
Can I
on?
meet you after the meeting?
I'm sorry, one of the reasons I wanted to talk now was that I can't stay. I can't
Yeah,
stay. this
email
evening.
would be fine.
That would be wonderful, Lisa.
I'll write up something, and my hope is that, you know, we can put something really clear in and brief to distribute to everybody.
I would like to talk with you personally.
And what's your name, sir?
Kevin Ferris.
Okay.
I've got a business card, but
Oh, that would be awesome.
And I will say that I don't with the property tax caps, I'm kind of unclear where you're saying they're not. This is, because they're taken from the gross, so deductions are going to change that a little differently. But the debt stays with, the township has debt, we have debt, it stays with there. And the increase in taxes in the township will be greater than what it is for the town. An example, $300,000 home in Richland Township is going gonna see about a $173 tax increase, where,
I understand, I'm sorry to go on so long.
but in the town of Ellettsville, you're looking at about a $200,000 home, I think was like $73 to $75. So you're not gonna pay hundreds more. There's no, that is not on the radar for you at all.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Public comments, we'll open it up again at the end, if we have time. Right now, we're gonna have a presentation from Shelton Specialties on proposed voter district maps.
Good evening, my name is David Sheldon with Sheldon Specialties LLC. I'm also currently the Knox County Clerk, and basically I'm an election nerd. So I was contacted by your fair city, town, to create some new district maps for the consolidation of Richland Township. Richland Township shows a total census population currently of 15,098. How you figure up your population deviation, I'll give you a little bit of a math lesson here. You would divide that number by 5, and that creates your target population, what you want your population of each district to be. In this case, the target population per district would be 3,019.6. Then you just start creating maps. You've got 4 different maps here, and if you look at the one that has a 28% population deviation, it's probably the bottom one there. That was my starting point. I looked at the maps, trying to find one that was kind of aesthetically pleasing, not moving a whole lot of voters out of their precinct, trying to decrease the amount of work. But when I did the math, that population deviation was too high. So then you kind of went down to the 9% version. A little not as clean as pretty, but actually I like that one. You see the breakdown for the districts, and I just arbitrarily assign district numbers to those. You're free to name them in reverse order as I have on these maps right there. But this one, the population is down to 9%. So how you figure out the population deviation is you first, divide your map into districts. You take the highest populated district.
Sorry, you're talking too loud.
Yeah, kind of lean back a little bit, you should be good.
Push it up.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
All right, sorry. You take the highest populated district, you subtract the number from the lowest populated district, you take that remainder and divide it by your target population early. A little bit of algebra, if you haven't used it since high school, don't feel bad, I hadn't either. And that's how you figure out the population deviation. When you're at the county or municipal level, there's no set population deviation in state law. You have a rule of thumb. 10%. When you do the redistricting on the higher levels, your congressional apportionment, you have to get down to the person. With 9 congressional districts in Indiana, 8 of them have the exact same population. 1 has 1 additional person. When you get to the state senate, the state rep districts, 1/10 of 1%. So it's very precise, but luckily on the local level, we have a lot more wiggle room. And like I said, rule of thumb, 10%. Some counties, some communities are geographically challenged. They can't quite get down to that. If you make a good faith effort, get it around 15% or under your, we'll just call them election enthusiast groups, your League of Women Voters, Common Cause, they will not file litigation if you made a good faith effort to go down there. On these maps that you have in front of you, it may not be clear. You should see all sorts of different irregular shapes with numbers in there. Those are called census blocks. Those are determined by the U.S. Census Bureau. Those boundaries cannot be changed by us or by the state. You can't cut those and cross through them. You have to abide by those boundaries. Some of them would be, it looks like a block. It could be a country field. It could be a long, skinny sliver along a railroad right-of-way. But those are the boundaries that we have to work with. So there's a little background on redistricting there. Again, got one down to 9%, then slight variations, an option down to 6%, and I even got it down to 4.6%. I can keep on going and getting that percentage lower, but then you start getting more irregular shapes or little what I call snaggletooths going into other districts and such. So you can either vote to approve any of these, or you can tell me I want something better. is totally up to you. But again, these districts, your council districts are based on population. It does not reflect voter data whatsoever. Now, as you see on these maps, you have several squares in irregular shapes in one color that are completely surrounded by another color. What those are non-contiguous precincts. Over the years, there have been different annexations made where parts of Ellettsville surrounds a part that's technically out in the county, out in rural, Richland County or so. So you're free, this body can establish your council districts. However, to truly clean up these maps would require action by your county commissioners. Only your county commissioners can establish or reestablish precincts. I strongly and highly recommend that.
I just wanted to, I was confused at first, so I want to make sure that what I'm understanding is accurate and have you confirm it. When I first looked at these maps, I'm like, there's no difference because I was looking at colors. But what we're really looking at are the outline red lines that you've drawn on the maps.
Correct.
And those are the proposed
Those are the proposed districts.
And that makes a lot more sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Once you approve a map, separate maps for each district will be created, and we'll work with Monroe County Election Department. We have the election director, Kylie Ferris is here. She's highly capable. I think she'd be able to tolerate me long enough to see this project through completion. Any districts that you establish as this body would need to take effect basically immediately after this November's election, just so we can move all the voters. With the designation of Ellettsville as a town, you do not have any residency requirements that you need to take in consideration. Basically, you can register to vote in Ellettsville, say next year, and then turn around and run for elected office in that town. So we don't have any delay other than we need to do this after the election. Yes?
What, that phrases question, to clarify why we would not want to use today the same boundary as precincts.
Well, with the consolidation, you're going to be bringing a lot more people in there, so new maps would have to be created. And another problem is, from the maps that I've seen of your city districts, they cross those census block lines themselves. So there's no real way to give you an accurate population deviation because of those cross census blocks.
And you're working on strictly the population deviation to make these, okay?
Correct.
Thank you.
And if we did get to the point, like I started talking about, re-precincting, there's currently 9 precincts in Richland Township. I'd recommend 10. We do 2 precincts per town council district, and those are different numbers. We have to work with voter data for precincts. They can be between 600 and 2,000 unless a precinct is its own district in itself, then you can go up to 2,300. But as we identified earlier, each district is going to have a little over 3,000, so therefore we need 2 precincts per district. We'll divide them up the best we can. That'll allow for potential expansion and growth of people coming in. And then also something to keep in mind, you'll only have to live with this map for about 4 years, 5 years until the next census comes out, and I should still be around to help you with that and readdress it then.
And that's in consideration that there's still 1 precinct that's actually in the city of Bloomington, Richland, Bloomington.
Well, there's in the southwest corner of this map, there's a little bit there. Yes. So, ideally, you'd probably, when we create, if the commissioners create a new precinct 10, it'd just be Richland 10.
Gotcha. Okay.
Do you have one of these that you would recommend over the others?
I personally like the 9% population deviation the best. It doesn't have any real profound cutouts. It's under 10%. We're moving voters, but it's not, when we get to the re-precincting level, we're moving voters, but we can do a lot of this in the batch process. When we start moving one census block from one precinct to the next, what the voter registration officials have to do, they have to do what's called manual address range assignments. It gets a little tricky. With this, a lot of batch transfers makes it a lot easier. And like I said, personally, I just like the 9% map the best. I feel it's the cleanest option for you.
Just out of curiosity.
Did your mic not turn?
Nope. Sorry. Just out of curiosity, why do you like the 9% better than the 4.6%?
So on the 4.6 one of the biggest things that I don't like, even though I drew the map this way, if you look at the yellow precinct
We don't
Towards the
have-
center of the page. If you-
D3?
Well, actually, I'm looking at D2 and the D1 boundary area.
Okay.
I have a carve out, a big rectangle that kind of gets
Oh,
transferred
yes,
from one to
yes,
next.
yes.
And there's a little skinny sliver going down there. You know, the factors you want to consider when you're doing redistricting is compact, contiguous, and also you want to reflect community. I don't think there's that much community variation here to, you know, if I'm splitting an ethnic neighborhood in half, please let me know and I can adjust the maps, but I'm not aware of any for Ellettsville. So, you know, between all the maps, the 9, the 6% and the 4.6, there's not a whole lot of great big changes. It's just, in my opinion, the 9% map is the cleanest one of the bunch.
I was looking at the 4.6 just because the parity's more equal.
Yeah,
You know,
it
the
is.
representation.
It is, definitely.
But as far as I can tell, it really is just that little block. That's the difference between the 4.6 and the 9%. And that does cut through a neighborhood, I think, right there on Thomas, right off of Thomas on the west side. So,
Any additional questions?
Is there a way that you can get these with, where I can get to see the street names a little bit more?
Yes, we can blow these up and superimpose street data and such, but you know, this is simply working with the census block maps itself.
This is just a rough.
Right.
Yeah, back of, kind of a little bit above back of the napkin, but not quite official.
Right.
yeah, it's interesting because as I'm looking at this, the difference between the 9% and the 4.6% from a geographical perspective is a lot less than the difference between the 6% and either of those, because on the 6%, you've got, if I'm seeing it correctly, you've got District 1 that sort of cuts up all the way up to 46 on the northeast side of it, and kind of, and on both the 9 and the 4.6%, the D3 is really compact and captures the sort of center of Ellettsville. So, just my own observations, I'm kind of drawn to the 9% myself.
Also for a future, for a map, we also have one little section of corporate town limits already in New Boston Township. We have a small section to the north that's already in the town limits. So don't see it on here, so.
Okay, I was unaware of that part going in.
It's a real small sliver, but I don't even know if there's any residences there or not, but there's property there. It's in the town limits in Bean Blossom Township.
Okay, so looking at these maps, can you tell me which color precinct that would be contiguous to?
It looks like it's between that, mine's pink up here, I guess.
Pink? Okay, up there.
That area right there, just to the north, underneath the R, the I of Richland Township, in that area, so.
And any idea how many people live in that area?
Few, one. Okay, we got one person lives there.
One person?
Yeah.
Okay, that won't throw off the population deviation I've got here then. All right.
At the moment,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know yet. There's future plans for that area out there,
Okay. Industrial or residential?
combination.
Okay. Well, the census data that we have as of now, the 2020 census data is the only data that we can use when you do the redistricting. So, you know, that's not going to change until the next census, and then we're going to address it at that point in time.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is this something the committee would like to vote on tonight, or do you want to see, William, you asked for more detailed on that?
Yeah, I really gotta look into, I mean, I really, the 9% map is what I'm leaning towards, because I don't necessarily like D1 getting into that area. That is pretty much a subdivision of all like people, and so the 9% looks good to me. I'll be glad in 2030 so we can be able to get all these little islands out,
Right.
because
We're not only that, but it has
the developments that are being developed right now, like Chris Smith,
Right.
Harmon Farms, that's going to drastically change these numbers.
Correct.
We're meeting again next week, right?
Yes, we are.
So you are going to have a forum.
Well, that's just it, we could,
Yeah.
I will be here,
I will be.
I won't be.
so who will be here next week?
I will be here.
Scott will be here,
I will not be here, so.
You'll have a forum.
and Dawn won't be here, so, okay. So, next week. We can't meet.
We can do more than one meeting the following week to
Yeah.
make up for it. If that's,
It's your pleasure, as long as it's announced, that's fine.
you guys, if you want to meet. I mean, we've got to have this done by the end of the month, and we're pushing the envelope.
I will have a board meeting on the 24th. School board meeting.
So if we have no meeting on the 18th, Kevin, you're proposing a meeting on the
23rd.
25th and then an additional meeting on the 23rd?
Well, the 23rd, at any time that week, it doesn't have to be Monday.
Yeah, Monday's
Your
the town
meeting is
council
when?
meeting,
My
so-
meeting is Tuesday.
Tuesday. Tuesdays and Thursdays are bad for me.
That Wednesday, the 25th, there's the final fire territory meeting at 7.
So that, what about that Monday, 23rd?
Town council meeting, so we'd have to.
You
How
guys,
about we do one on the 30th, and then do one our Wednesday of April 1st?
that'd work for me.
That works.
Works for me.
Works for me.
Works for me.
I just want to clarify, what do we feel that we'll need to, I mean, I don't mind having an extra meeting, but
I can't see getting a whole lot done tonight. Okay, and then next week, everybody's gone, and there's a lot of work left to do.
Yeah.
Scott, my sense of it is we have these maps that we need to review more closely. We also just received finally our street and road, water, sewer, and stormwater subcommittee drafts, which we have to go through and discuss, and then we have to start putting together a draft document that synthesizes all of them. That's going to take time, and I would rather have a meeting on the 30th and a meeting on the 1st and be able to chunk those things up and say, on the 30th, we're going to be focusing on this portion of it, and on the 1st, we're going to be focusing on this portion of it, so we have a more focused meeting, and I'm not trying to cover a little bit of everything in discussion.
Well, we still have the 25th.
Yes.
We still have the meeting the 25th to make sure that everybody concurs with,
Okay, 25th.
yeah, to make sure that everybody concurs with the subcommittee findings. And is there anything that,
Well, let's start on, my thoughts, like on the 25th. Let's set part of the agenda, that discussion of, we will focus on 1 or 2 subcommittee reports only, and get those hammered out and approved, or not approved. And then we'll do that for each of the meetings. That way, if people wanna, if there's something, somebody's caught with the public safety, they can show up to that meeting instead of having to show up to every meeting and hoping we discuss the public safety subcommittee.
what do you think about 3? If we try to do 3 subcommittees
In one meeting?
in one meeting?
I don't think we can on the 25th,
No, why is that?
because we have that hard stop at
Oh,
6:50, yeah.
Final meeting, as it said.
That's what, because originally I thought 3 too.
But you
Why
went for
don't-
an hour earlier.
Why don't we go ahead and set the meetings now and then talk amongst ourselves in the next week
Set the agenda.
and set the agenda, okay? And then if there's, for instance, if there's a subcommittee that everything there looks good, okay? Like I can't imagine this not looking good.
Right.
Okay, then we can get that out of the way at the 25th and then do 2 more, okay? There's not a whole lot of people involved here. You
Yes.
see what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then, but the ones that it looks like there's going to be some dissension or whatever, then we can hammer that out and do that one on the 30th.
Whichever ones we expect to be most difficult,
Easy.
we front load so that if we can't get through them, we have another go at them. If we save any of the hard ones for the last meeting before the due date and they don't get closed, then we have a major problem.
And how hard is, or how fast is the first? If we had to do another meeting after that for whatever reason?
I've spoken to Baker Tilly, because Paige Sansone told us she wanted a draft by the 1st, and I asked her if the 2nd would be okay, since we have a meeting on the 1st, and she said that's probably okay. So, I mean, we could ask her tonight if, even the next week would be okay. But,
Let's ask.
Yeah.
This is first fail-safe. In case.
Okay, so meeting on the 25th, 30th, both
And the
in March
1st.
and April 1st.
So we got to do a motion on that.
Do we really need to have a meeting?
I think.
Darla, do we need to have a motion on that?
Would you,
I make a motion that we set the 3 dates, the 25th, the 30th, and the 1st, as Reorganization Committee meetings here, 6 o'clock.
Okay, the motion is to have meetings on March 25th, March 30th, and April 1st in this room at 6 p.m. Any further discussion?
Or is there a second?
I'll second. I was giving somebody else a chance. You and I are already fighting over it.
Okay, so Kevin moved, William seconded. I vote yes. William?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Dawn?
yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Now, do we have a meeting? Well, I know there was some discussion at a previous meeting about whether those of us who were here this coming Wednesday would
Yes.
still have some sort of work session where we could receive public comment.
And we got clarification from Darla that we cannot.
Okay.
That if it is a public meeting, we have to treat it as a meeting, and without a quorum, this group cannot meet. That would not prevent any of us who are in town and available from having any other kind of informational meeting privately. So if people want to get together for coffee or head down to a brewery and have some burgers and talk about reorganization,
Get together.
talk
Party
about districts.
Party at Williams' house.
All right, we're going to move forward on to subcommittee reports. I'll have Kit come up first.
Good evening, I'm Kip Petty, Public Works Director. First off, I'd like to apologize that I didn't have this prepared for you at the last meeting that you guys was trying to get them all together at. I'll just briefly go over this as fast as I can. There's really not a whole lot to talk about really with this. On the street, I'll start with the street and the road maintenance. I included the map in this so you guys get the generalization of where all the roads are at. It's kind of hard to see, but they're all in yellow. The township has roughly 81 miles in the township. The town of Ellettsville has roughly 32. We probably got 35, but I need to get them registered with the state so we can get our revenue with that. So that's the process of getting our money for the roads. Of the 81, what I personally looked at and deeming as urban, which would be like curb and gutter areas, would be like your subdivisions, not with naming all of them, but the close ones to Ellettsville would be like Woodgate, Autumn Hills, Autumn Grove. I kind of deem them would be the urbanized area of the new reorganization. And of course, it goes to the east and to the south going towards Highway 48. That's more of an urban area too as well. So just doing the math, when we were to organize, it would bring us up to about roughly 116 miles of center lane miles for the reorganized area. So just to briefly go over the operational notes, the utilities in street are presented as separate subcommittees for reports, but for planning purposes, but the day-to-day operations of the town of Ellettsville with the public works we're one unit. We're sewer, water, streets, and stormwater. It helps us utilize manpower, a lot more manpower for kind of a less cost, I guess you could say in a way, because what we do is the salaries are paid. Mike might have to help me with this a little bit. They're paid 1/3. It's 1/3 sewer, 1/3 water, 1/3 MVH. Well, that gives me the opportunity to pull one guy from virtually working on water lines to working on streets. Street guy can go work on water lines, go work on wastewater like that. Right now, stormwater is in a unit itself. Right now, we've got one employee, the town does, in stormwater. The report covers the street department services, road maintenance for the proposed reorganization of Richland Township and the town of Ellettsville. Kind of go a little forward. There's a lot of services that the town provides right now for the residents of the town of Ellettsville. One of them is the residential brush and leaf programs. In the interim year of this, brush and leaf pickup would be still probably limited to the town or the urbanized areas for the time being until the reorganized board comes together and they set what they want for what surfaces for what you want versus rural or urban area. The reorganization plan anticipates, like I said, 2 service areas, maybe a town district, maybe a rural district as well. Even though 2 service areas are planning, the goal is 1 community with coordinated, consistent public works services. Also, we would still confirm and operate under existing MOU agreements that we would have with the county or any other organization as far as streets, snow support. The town manager and myself, I don't know if he mentioned to you at the last meeting, but me and him met with the Monroe County Highway Director, Lisa Ridge, and the Superintendent of Highways, Toby Turner. It was a very well meeting that we had together. We had entertained maybe a possible interlocal agreement. They weren't really interested in that because of when the town and the township becomes reorganized, that funding will come to us. The MVH funding, the local roads and streets, which is the gas tax, that will come to us. So if we even wanted to entertain of the county, because the county still does, they do good work with the roads in Richland Township. They all are good roads. We would have to do an interlocal agreement with them and then reimburse them back the money. And they're not even interested in doing that. And I was fine with it. The town manager was fine with it. Right now, I've worked an interlocal agreement back whenever Danny Stockup was still street commissioner at the time, because there's a lot of segments of roads that's been annexed into the town that half of the road is town limits and the other end of the road is in the county. So it didn't make sense for my guys to plow that section, lift their plow and go on. So we took all them mileaged areas and added them to one road. So now the town of Ellettsville, we plow all of Starnes Road from Flatwoods to Reeves, all of Reeves in the town, and that takes care of the other segments that the county plows that we have little bitty areas of. So when we reorganize, there will be some roads that will go outside of the township, and I'm sure we can work with the Monroe County that we would take care of that road to the end of it and work an MOU that way. I mean, one good example is like Lost Man's Lane. Lost Man's Lane still has road that goes on into Bloomington Township and stops at the Richland Township line. So it would make no sense for us to stop at their plows, turn around, and go back. So that's something we can work on too in the future with Monroe County. Staffing and outsourcing approach. With the money that we have, I don't know, the revenue we are looking at, anticipating to get, I should be able to put 2 more guys on staff with reorganization out of the MVH. And like I explained to you earlier, with us doing the DPW, them two guys could probably give me at least maybe one more guy that would be part of the sewer and water part with it. I have, and I've talked with the town manager of the possibility of outsourcing like some of these subdivisions. I know that the Sheridan plan, I don't know if it was in their plan, but I think they talked about it, and I think they may end up doing it, but they had some contractors came in and did snow removal in some of the subdivisions. So that's an option that I'm kind of looking at too as well. But with the numbers that I'm looking at, I'm confident that I could probably have the staffing to be able to take care of it. So with the funding, the grants, and the cost management of all this, like I said earlier, the finance subcommittee summary, the street maintenance and public works operation expenses are shown at my current budget for this year was right around $994,000. With the budget and the organization would add another $533,797.14. So that would make my budget roughly 1.5 million is what it would be. So that funding comes from MVH, like I said, gas tax, the wheel tax, surtax, and all that actually is being taken away from the county and coming to us. So these taxpayers will not be getting taxed anything extra for this. The county won't be getting the money for this. It will come to the town. And so it does not have any effect on what you guys are trying to do with your portion on that.
Does that money come, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but does that money come the first year? So if this passes in November, does that hit January 1st?
No, it'd be like June. Yeah. It'd be
The
June.
whole amount or half of it?
Half of it.
Half of it,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
First year
The
only.
town, I think we've discussed this, the town that may have enough coffers that we could be able to support this until that comes in. Don't hold me to that, but I'm thinking that's a possibility. Now, the stormwater, well, when I get to that, that would be a totally different thing. So basically, that's it in a nutshell there. I got a little bit of our capital equipment we got at the end of it, so you can see what we got. We'll probably need just a couple of dump trucks, and the staffing. We do have some equipment that we can do a lot of this stuff on our own still, but there will be some equipment that I'll need to purchase out of capital purchasing. So, and that would be in my budgeted lines is where that would be that. So I don't know if you guys got any more questions with that. I'll just.
So, I'm sorry. So that 533,000?
Yes, sir.
Is that the first year, or is that half of that amount the first year?
No, that's what my budget will go up to. That's not my distribution. That's not the distribution is what that is. That's what my budget will.
So that's not what we're capturing if it happens?
Well, yeah, we'll capture that.
But only half of it the first year?
It'd be the 1.5 is what we would get half of the first year.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Does that
it'd
sound
be the same for all departments.
Yes, it'd be same for all, yes, exactly. It'd be same for all departments, is what it'll be.
Okay.
But this is not general fund. This is totally different. This is just from MVH taxing, and I think that's partly from property tax, and the gas tax, which is the local roads and streets.
Wheel tax.
And then the wheel tax, yes.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. The wheel tax will come with that too as well, is like what the town has as well, so.
And that we will get more immediately. We'll probably start getting, we would be getting that towards
Yes.
beginning of February of next year.
Yes, exactly. So, stormwater, I know Mike, I don't know if he emailed everybody. I think Mike sent something out to some of you. I'm not sure if all I've got here. I can get that to you later. Basically what he had said is pretty well I have in here. Stormwater is just a utility itself. The township, I believe, is there's roughly 6,500 homes, I'd say, residential. That's not including your commercial or anything like that. And the county has their, I got ahead of myself here. So let me back up here. So this report covers the water, sewer, and the storm for the purpose of reorganization. There's different providers in the township. There's Eastern-Richland Sewer Corporation, of course, the town of Ellettsville and the town. On the water side, there's Beam Blossom Patrickburg on the west side, Van Buren Water on the south side, City of Bloomington on the east side. And they're all that will stay the same. None of that will change. And then we get to the stormwater. All that stormwater funding should come to us. It will be up to the board on how they want that to be billed. I mean, you guys will work all that out. My personal, where I live at, I pay $75.77 a year for my stormwater where I live at as well. That's for the county, and that comes to about $6.31 per month. And the town residents is set at $7 a month is what there are right now currently. So that will be something to the board whenever they get together to look at how you want to adjust that or what you want to do with that.
Now, that's just residential.
That's just residential only for the
Because commercial
6,500.
pays
We got commercial, and
There's a whole lot more.
that's a whole lot more. There's a lot more impervious areas for that.
I need a refund.
Kip, I hate to cut you off.
Yes, I'm sorry.
We're
So,
running out of time.
but that was just a quick overview. If you guys got any more questions, shoot me an email, or I can help you out with anything you need.
Okay. Do we have any other subcommittee reports?
That's it.
Okay. Anybody else from the community? Public
3
comment?
minutes for public comment.
You literally have 3 minutes.
Kylie, did you want to say anything as election supervisor? Okay.
Say something.
Any discussion among the committee real quick?
Short and sweet.
Reports. I'm definitely going to read them carefully, and I probably will have some additional questions, but I'm looking forward to us getting very clear and aggressive agendas set for the next 3 meetings, so we have an opportunity to work on the things we have to come prepared to discuss to those meetings, and do all of our fact-finding ahead of time to have a shot at getting this done in time.
Expect a lot of emails.
Yeah, and we're allowed to do that, right, Darla? We can email
About agenda and administrative stuff.
back and forth, asking each other questions.
Administrative type things.
Yeah.
Yes.
We just can't say, this report, we're approving it when we get to it.
Correct, that is a big thing.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Concluded.
Thank you.
Morning.